Welcome to Contemplative Living, where we view contemplations for the week to have a better understanding of our spiritual paths. This is Contemplative Living with Dave Bennett, contemplations and reflective meditations. Hello and welcome to another Contemplative Living, where we talk about concepts to bring contemplative living into everyday life. I'd like to start by quoting from Thomas Merton and from his book Dialogues with Silence. The true contemplative is not one who prepares his mind for a particular message that he wants or expects to hear, but is one who remains empty because he knows that he can never expect or anticipate the words that will transform his darkness into light. This reminds me, I've been contemplating or had a contemplative practice for over 20 years. And this reminds me of when I was starting and how a successful meditation with contemplation with the divine would bring about so much hope, and it taught me to learn to trust. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. That's kind of what we're going to explore this morning. So let's go ahead and start here. Hope is not effective if we do not believe in ourselves or have inner trust. So this is kind of showing us that hope is core to who we are. In our inner self, we need that trust. We need to believe in ourself, because that's the beginning of hope. If we don't believe in ourselves, then hope is just something that glances off of us. It doesn't stick to us. It doesn't become a part of us. So when we use hope, especially in combination with intention, where we want to intend something in our lives, then they become more effective when we combine the two of hope and a positive, heart-centered type of intention. But we have to do that with sincerity, and with sincerity, we have to believe in ourselves. And we have to have a trust within us, because hope requires trust. Unlock a deeper understanding of trust. There's an unchanging, stable presence of awareness within, which is your true self. Trust, I had a period in my life where trust was really hard to come by, because I was in a point of life where I was just trying to survive. And I didn't have a support system around me at the time that made me feel like I could trust. And so my trust was locked away. And I didn't even realize that I had locked my trust away. And when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about trusting myself and others and the circumstances within what I find myself. So But once we unlock that, we find that there is within us a stable presence of peace and calm with a greater awareness than just what we perceive ourselves. And so to find that, to unlock that, and sometimes it's hard to find that key. For me, it was very difficult because I was so caught up in the daily circumstances and that I couldn't find the key to my own inner knowing, my own inner being. And so when I started my contemplative practice, this was one of the things that I probably started working on most was trust and trying to reduce judgment. And because that I found was the key for me, was when I reduced judgment, I could begin to trust again. Because we all have self-doubt, we all have self-judgments, and to learn how to reduce that, to diminish that, and to allow those doubts and self-judgments to dissolve away. Then we can find that trust. That was the key that unlocked it for me. I'm not saying that that's it for everybody, but in my lifetime, this has been a huge part of my path. So center in awareness. Find an unwavering source of trust in yourself that can never be lost. Once I unlocked that door, and once I found trust within myself, where I trusted myself, my contemplations then became amplified. And I was able to step into that center of awareness. Awareness is another part. These are all interrelated aspects of contemplation because we need to find that source, that steady source of divine light that's within each and every one of us. And it's there, it's always there, and it can never be lost. And it's so powerful to know that. It's so powerful to realize that within us is this divine source and that we have access to it at any time. Activate hope within. We only need to bring attention to the presence of our awareness. So this is that taking a hard look and bringing our attention to our awareness. Our awareness is always there and available to us to expand our consciousness. And when we do that, we're able to activate that hope within us, activate that discernment that we can now hope and project our hopes. Hope is something that we all need. It strengthens us to know that we're moving towards something. Now this one, yesterday was Halloween. I don't want to date this podcast, but yesterday was Halloween, and so I asked in contemplation to have something that was a little more fun toward that. And the thing that Spirit shared with me is come out of the cave today. We've all been sequestered and we've all been, because of the world and the circumstances with which we live in. And so come out of the cave today to see the world as it is. And this does fall in line with kind of the contemplations that we've had this week, because we want to prepare our minds and we want to move forward, but we need to live in the reality of the world in which we live. So in order to do that, we need to come out and experience life, and experience it in a way that is brings joy and beauty into our lives. And we do that with our contemplative practice. We do that with our entire being. And it all starts with awareness. It all starts with that center of awareness and unlocking trust, and then experiencing that greater sense of hope that we can then apply in our intentions. Hey, I see Justine out there, and Elizabeth. Thanks for the shout out. So have an appetite 7 days of the week to expand your awareness. I love the thought of the appetite, having an appetite, because it means that we want to experience. It means that we have a desire. Desires aren't necessarily bad, especially if they're constructive and if they have a heart-centered purpose or goal. So when we set our desire, our appetite, to experience and expand our awareness on a regular basis, it starts to multiply, it starts to amplify our life. And that's how we live life, is when we live in that expanded awareness. And that's what contemplation does for us. By establishing a practice and having that centering aspect in your life, it brings about that expanded awareness that we can then apply in our life in everyday situations and everyday circumstances. I hope that you find that greater sense of awareness in your life this week. And I hope that it brings you peace. And I see Mary just joined us. Hello, Mary. Thanks for the shout out. And I hope you have a blessed week. Namaste.